Hey, Shilpa.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, good.
Where are you?
I'm in Queens right now.
Is that where you live?
Yeah, I live in Queens.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Are you a East Coast person?
Yes, I am. Born and raised in Jersey, but New
Oh.
Yorker for over 20 years.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I mean, they don't still accept me as a New Yorker, but I kind of accept myself as one.
Why don't they accept you?
Because I'm not a native.
Oh,
And it's Jersey, which
yeah.
is like nobody wants to be associated with that. But it's closer than I feel like I'm more of a New Yorker than someone from Connecticut.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. How is
don't know what.
Queens?
Yeah.
I've not, I
Queen,
haven't I haven't spent much time in Queens myself.
Queens is great.
Yeah.
I live on the border though. I live in Ridgewood, so it's like technically not as Queens as you can get, but it's Queens. I mean, I Glendale is just like a 5 minute walk from me.
Yeah.
So I love it. I don't know. I mean, just reminds me of living in Jersey in a weird way.
Right. You just went east or northeast,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you've been there for 20 years. Were your sort of formative years spent in New York City?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
spent like all of my 20s in New York City.
So lucky.
I Yes and no. I mean, it was during 9/11, that
Oh,
era. So
how
it was
lucky.
it was weird, and
Sure.
I was very poor. I remember like really struggling a lot with everything. Um, but I still like I love the city. I've never lived anywhere else
Right.
really, and I don't really want to. It's really odd. I mean, everyone else is like, I want to live here, and they do it, or they move around a lot.
Yeah.
And I've traveled a lot of places before, and I like the places I've seen, but I can't picture myself living there.
Mm-hmm.
I should have picked a cheaper place to live, you know. But yeah, I don't know. It's just odd like that.
And when you were, I guess, growing up in Jersey, did you come over to the city to see shows?
I
Live?
was a teenager mostly. I remember skipping school to watch Train Spotting. I remember
Mm,
that was like, I gotta go see Train Spotting now, and I'm not going to school today. And we
yeah.
would hang out at Washington Square Park.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'd flirt with a bunch of skaters and stuff and not touch the weird looking weed that people would try to sell you.
Right.
And I'm also late to the game on that too. I didn't smoke till much, much later in life.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, that whole thing was there, and it was like mid to late '90s, and it
Yeah.
was cool. It was cool.
And obviously, you play music. What was your what was your musical education like? And I ask uh, that, and I ask informally or formally. I mean, most of my musical education was going to shows, but I did have some schooling of sorts.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I was trained in classical Indian music from when I was 6 on vocals, and I had to play the harmonium because that's what you did
Oh,
in order to accompany the vocals. So I did that as a kid, and it was really weird because it was the most non-American thing you could bring to the table. So I like
yeah.
kept it. I kept that shit to myself.
Oh my God.
Yeah, for a long time.
And the
And then
harmonium, so the pump organ, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
It's
mean, it's
it's a reed instrument, so it's closer to an accordion, but it's laid out like a pump organ.
was it
And
was it is it different? Is it a North Indian or South Indian scale or either or?
it's male female scale, and it's not naturally always tuned to a 440, which is standard tuning in Western music.
Right.
So anytime I've had to get a harmonium here, I've had to get it retuned to
Oh, you have.
play
Okay.
it. Yeah, totally. But not so much there. But it's they have these things called male female scales, but it's really like using a capo on a guitar to change your
Okay.
key. And you could do it like that, or you could just change the key like you would on a piano, just with your hands, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I also learned piano when I was a kid too,
Okay.
and yeah, so those were the instruments.
So you, so you were you were hiding your harmonium, and you said sing. I mean, they accompany each other, right? You
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, like yeah, I was hiding the singing, especially. I thought it was the most embarrassing thing to do. I hated singing so much, and my mom actually made me take lessons after she caught me singing when I was very, very young. I like some I would just pick up stuff from the TV. So I remember watching like an infomercial with Willie Nelson and just like
Mhm.
repeating what he said, because I loved Willie Nelson when I was a
Yeah.
kid, especially because he had the braids and
Yeah.
he just looked so friendly. So I would just be in awe, and then he would sing, and I would just sing back. But I was always like attracted to other people's voices, but I really didn't like doing it myself, because then you have this element of performance. And when you're shy and you're a total introvert, that's the last thing you want to do is perform in front of people. So,
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
And so you were young when you were learning that instrument, and but you carried it into, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, at least one of your first kind of records or outputs, "Beat the Devil." Is
Yes.
that hard? And is that one of your first records? But you're playing harmonium, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm playing harmonium with that when that band was there, and then also for the first couple records when I just went by my name. It's
Okay.
harmonium on that too.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just like went on to playing on keys. And then when the pandemic happened, I was like, I've always wanted to learn how to play guitar. So it's just, I, I like to, you know, change it up and stuff. I like synths a lot too. But once you play keys, you can kind of translate into any kind of keyed instrument,
Right.
and it's fine. It's not like a big learning curve.
It's fun
Guitar
for
for me
you.
has been like complete hell. Like I'm like, wow, there's like six keyboards and I don't understand this at all, and it's
Yeah.
on strings and my fingers fucking hurt, and but I love it. I love it
Yeah.
because you can hold it close to your body and you can play it anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of like sucking at something. It's humbling, and it's also like you remember when you started out on other things, and
Right.
the newness, and not really knowing what the hell you're doing. And there's an excitement about that. There's a challenge
Right.
about that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. The guitar is equally as difficult for me. I mean, keyboards are tough, but I understand them better.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm a drummer, so
Yes,
obviously
yes.
drums are fine, but guitar is always baffling. But I have been trying to tackle it, and the one beauty of guitar, which I'm sure all guitarists learned when they were the first year they were playing it, but you can just sit there and, as you said, hold it, and you can just like drone. I like,
Yeah.
you can just drone or finger pick or something. It is a instrument that you can hold close and actually feel it.
Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't take much to make it sound grand.
Right.
Whereas with piano, synths I think is a different
Good point.
story, but
Yeah.
but with piano, you have to do a lot with your hands to make that thing like stand out or
Yeah.
make it fluid, and so
Yeah.
it's a lot of like using your forearms and those types of muscles. With guitar, it's like more you have to be really strong with your fingers, which is its own challenge, but it doesn't take much. You could just hit that power chord and it just says everything.
Yeah.
Whereas on piano, it doesn't quite work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what we're saying ultimately is playing guitar is easy.
It's not.
I'm just kidding. I just
Nothing is easy. That's what I've learned. I don't know how to play
yeah.
drums. I don't know how to
Yeah.
play drums. I do like making beats. I have my little drum machine I make beats on when I write.
All right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, you play.
Um,
It sounds like you can tackle anything.
it takes me a long time, and
Yeah.
it's like, um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's curiosity. It
Yeah.
really is. But I have moments where I'm like, I need to have a life. I can't just sit in a room and do this all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, drum machines are like they're more simple. I think playing drums is really would be difficult, and you'd have to practice a lot. That sounds hard to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. There's so many different styles of drumming now that people like, where it's like off kilter. To me, it's in the way people cut drums,
Mm.
that they're not always on, and people don't like stuff on time anymore. So I think with intent, if you have enough intent, anyone can play drums.
I disagree.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I think that comes from being Indian because so much of indie music is based on drums,
Yeah.
and rhythm is like such a big deal to me that
Yeah.
that's like the one thing where I'm like, you can't keep time. I can't. I can't. You got to keep time. You got to keep time. Even if you like manipulate the count or like,
Yeah.
because not in Indian like in tabla, it's not 4/4 at all. It's like 9/5, and then you have to count this crazy.
It's
It's
insanity.
insane. It's insane, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
I would like
It's
to
yeah.
go ahead.
It's still like it hits your body. So I think that's what it is. I think if the drums don't hit my natural rhythm for me, I
Yeah.
can't I can't do it. I don't like abstract drumming.
Right.
And I don't like cymbals either. So that's my other.
Singers
Yeah.
don't like cymbals a
No,
lot of
it's
times. And
yeah.
that just that makes what you were saying just kind of makes me laugh, thinking about like the 22-year-old version of myself when I was really getting into world music,
Yeah.
and obviously playing drums. And I remember thinking, and just like, it's so fucking complicated. I mean, I guess I
You
could have
should do
at
it. You
this
should do it.
point, but I don't know. It just makes me laugh. It's just, I love it, but it's so challenging. um, well, I kind of want to get like briefly trying to get the big picture of your career from to now. From is was Beat the Devil kind of your first band that you
Beat the
played in?
Devil was a moniker I had when I would play solo at Sidewalk.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would go to the Sidewalk Cafe every week and present these songs I would write because I didn't know how to write a song. And there was a bunch of songwriters. And that was the big challenge of being at the Sidewalk Cafe, but it was also a very safe place
Mm-hmm.
to present your ideas and be creative and play at like 3 in the morning if you drew a late number or whatever
Yeah.
the thing was. It was one of the most nurturing environments I think I've ever been a part of. And then, like a lot of curious young people, you want to be in a rock band, you don't want to do anti-folk, and that was in my head at the time. And then I did the thing where I started a band, and it's been like a love-hate relationship ever since.
Yeah. Well, I've been delving into all of your records now. I think the record that I first got into was probably Door Girl
Oh,
from our
cool.
mutual friend Ryan Katner.
Yeah.
And but in the last week or so, I've been digging into all your records, and the one kind of through line that I see in my experience of listening to all this stuff is your tunes are kind of a combination of this really direct and poignant depiction of lyrically, I'm saying, this poignant description, depiction of life, really. And a lot of times it's life and real things that people don't want to talk about. And it's often accompanied with dirty and pretty dark versions of punk and sleazy swing stuff and uh, blues and all kinds of stuff. But it's that combination that is the through line that I see mostly with your words. And the magical thing about it is that it's in a way it's jarring, but I discovered that it's the kind of jarring that, if it is jarring, that keeps you interested and makes you want to really listen to your words. And it um and and pay attention to what you're saying. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, is your expression is do you always back to sort of intent, have you always had intent, or is sometimes your expression just simply expression?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Thanks to you, it gave me this thought. It really.
I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know how. Sometimes what I'm writing is calculated, and sometimes it takes on a life of its own.
Yeah,
I've always been a writer, so that's how I. It's an outlet for me to express myself,
yeah,
especially because you really can't say a lot of these things. I mean,
yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, you wish you could. People say it on TV and stuff, but you can't really do this in real life because other people have lives and things that they worry about and stuff. And I don't know. I think it's just like eh, something to get out of my system. But I really don't know. It's interesting trying to write stuff now after the last record, which was probably the most. It was like the darkest I think I've lyrically ever gotten
yeah.
into, and that was like in my mind, it was complete hell to go there too. And then to have to present it to a band and then have to make light of it sometimes because you have to bring levity into this because it's like,
Right,
oh my God.
which you
Yeah.
do. There is some, and that is the sort of metaphorical experience I have with your music. The humor that is definitely there, but everything else you can really kind of grasp onto, and you listen to it enough. The humor is you just kind of go, oh, that's funny. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You, you got
But
a
it's
lot of
also
tricks
like,
going on. It's not
yeah.
it's not always fun stuff, but
No, it's not always fun stuff. But, I'm still a living, breathing human being. I'm still alive. And it's like, well, what else am I supposed to do? It already all the things happened.
yeah,
It's like there's no turning back on that. I can't unsee what I just saw, but I can
right,
make fun of the fact that, I'm asked to unsee it and I refuse to do that. I
yeah,
can make fun of that. And I think that's probably like the motivation for me to write about things like that because
right,
it's like, come on, let's just say it like it is, and
yeah.
and you know,
And it comes off also. It comes off as like, it doesn't come off as this like postmodern pessimistic thing. I can't really put my finger on it, but it doesn't. To me, that's a little bit cliche just to be pessimistic. To me, it's mostly a guy thing too. Pessimistic dudes are often not dealing with what they're considering or talking about, and there's something about your tunes that just simply aren't just being sarcastic or pessimistic.
oh well, that's really cool. I
Yeah,
like that you see it that way. I'm
yeah,
I'm never sure because like also, I mean, being born and raised in Jersey
yeah,
and then being a Northeast person, um, a lot of the ways in which we just speak on an
mhm,
everyday basis is really harsh. And I've been told that many times. And I'm not even aware of it, you
right.
know? But yeah, I guess it's nice to hear someone say that I'm not being pessimistic.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I'd like to say maybe you are, but I think we've
Yeah.
heard enough of just straight pessimism, and I think
Yeah,
Again, it's
yeah,
an
yeah.
excuse to not really deal with stuff, but and that's fine. But I don't know. It's just not as simple as that.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I
yeah.
agree. Sure.
Um, and back to your most recent record that came out last year, Portrait of a Lady. It does seem to be coming from somewhere specifically. Um, where were you when you started working on that record and writing that record?
Oh wow.
Not physically, but
Well, I can tell you the story of how I thought of it or was inspired to write about it because I never wanted to touch that subject at all. And I was asked to be a backing singer for Andrew Bird when he played at Carnegie Hall. And this
mm,
is like 5, 6 years ago. And I it was a total honor, and I was just like, wow, I can't believe I even get to do this. This is nuts. And during the sound check, I couldn't hit this octave jump, and I was just like beating myself up in the head. I was like, you gotta hit this. I mean, you're singing at Carnegie Hall. When, get it together. You gotta do this. And so I took a walk afterwards before the show to clear my head, and I went to MoMA, which was really close by, and they were holding a Nan Golden exhibit at
oh
the
man,
like right then and there. So I walked in to see the Nan Golden exhibit. The first portrait I see is her face beat up, that famous
oh yeah, I
portrait
know
that
that.
she and
Yeah,
I just looked at it and I was like, I gotta write about my experiences. Like I just have to, because it was the most powerful thing I had ever seen. And it was just such a weird thing that's when I was like, I have to make this record. So I started thinking about making this record like on the spot. Then had to
wow,
go back to Carnegie Hall and like sing the thing. I hit
yeah,
it, man. I hit it.
you
I
did,
hit the
yeah,
jump. I hit
yeah,
the jump. I still remember the expression on his face when he watched me hit it. And he's like, yeah, she hit it. And it was great. But I don't know. It's just really weird, like that thing that people always say about the importance of art and how much it hit, like those moments when art actually hits you, like in a
yeah,
very solid way. That was definitely like probably a really major one for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that record touches on a lot of things, but it seems to have, um, I mean, it seems to be specific reference to your personal experiences, and I, I can't, I don't think that any record has been like that up. Any of your records has been like that up to then. Is that right?
No, I mean, even Door Girl, I mean, they are stories from when I was working, or when I still have worked the door, but it's like when I work the door, what do I see in front of me? But
Yeah,
I'm removed from the situation and an observer and a
yeah,
commentator on something that's happening that has nothing to personally to do with me. Maybe
right,
there's some reflection here and there, but it's not that, it doesn't run that deep.
right, yeah,
And with Portrait of a Lady, it was like, oh, I know about this, and I'm going to share with you like what I went through and how ridiculous and heartbreaking and harrowing and messed up it was. And I just went there, but it was really difficult to write. Um, I did not have a lot of uh, fun going back there. But I
hmm,
think that's where the humor started coming back because I had to make myself laugh to keep writing it.
yeah,
I had to make those little, digs and jabs in
yeah.
in the in the writing in order to make it even appeal to me. So, yeah, that was an interesting experience for
Well,
sure. Yeah.
congratulations, you've made a great record and you made it through
Oh,
it.
thanks.
Yeah, and we all got to see the fruits of it. One song. Well, I want to. I had 1,000 questions about all songs, but I'm just going to stick with one, and I want to know in the song "Bootlickers of the Patriarchy." Are you referring to one particular bootlicker?
No, I'm talking to a whole clan of bootlickers.
Yeah.
The bootlicker can be anything.
Okay.
Originally, it was about Susan Collins, was the person I was thinking of because she had held a
Okay.
press conference
Ooh.
after
Yeah.
they had gotten. I can't remember that judge's name now. It's been such a long time. The really dumb one
Yeah. I know who
that
you're
was
talking.
held on trial. I can't remember. Why can't I remember this guy's name? Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh. Yeah.
Yes. So they had the trial for Kavanaugh,
Yeah.
who's a total dumbass and a rapist.
Yeah.
And she's just like, well, I will tell you what I think at 3 p.m. And she had like this whole audience. And I'm like, man, you're a fucking bootlicker. You're a bootlicker. You
She's
know,
brutal. Yeah.
yeah, she's brutal. But it also can convey, like, the woman who stole your man, the lady who doesn't, like other women. It's like a lot of different women. Or
Yeah.
it could have that. I mean, I think not every woman is a feminist, and that's something you just kind of have to concede to.
Mm-hmm.
Or they are, or they consider themselves feminists, but they have viewpoints that make women's lives more difficult, and that's an interesting twist on that too.
Right.
So
That is. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'd like to play Bootlicker. Is that cool with you?
yeah.
All right. Here we go. That song isn't exactly a two-parter.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
That was a fun one to write, and it was very quick. I remember that one came very, very quick.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. But a lot of those songs on that album did not come so fast, so
Right.
I was grateful for that one. Yeah.
And do you have a typical way that you write? Do you start by yourself? Do you start in the studio?
I always write by myself. Uh, I think sometimes the lyrics come before the music, and sometimes the music comes before the lyrics. But I have always in my brain, like I always have like a bunch of riffs already
Hmm.
like rotating, and I'm like, what can I do with this, you know? So I always have this little bank of riffs in my head that I kind of think about a lot and then see what I can do. I've noticed as I get older, the writing becomes harder and harder to do. I don't
Yeah.
know why that is. Maybe I'm thinking too much about like, how it should be, or I think when you're young, you just kind of do stuff and not think so much. I think
Right.
I'm losing that a little bit, and I think a little
You
too
are.
hard. Yeah.
Maybe you're just temporarily losing it.
Yeah.
Come back in a different way.
Yeah, yeah, that could be it too.
And then
Um,
when you go into the studio with your songs, do you typically have a band or the band there, or do you start tracking? It sounds like you can play most instruments. Thankfully, you
that's
can't play
that
drums.
actually
But
it took a while for me to
yeah.
get to that point. But for these sessions, it was a mixture. So I would just dictate how I wanted stuff played, and then I get a lot of argument back,
Yeah.
which was tough. That's always like it it is what it is. But I eventually pushed it to the point where I was happy with what came out. It
Yeah.
was also like the first Portrait of Lady was the first album where I gave a very skeletal arrangement as to what I wanted, so we could fill it out with the synths
Oh yeah.
post live recording. So
Right.
that was the other thing with that too. Was like a lot of the synth stuff was just done afterwards. And I also learned that I don't need a whole lot of people in the studio.
Hmm.
I've always had a band in that format, thinking that the band had to be in the studio, and that's just not the case anymore. And it's much easier to have less people in the studio to make the music. So post Portrait of a Lady, the singles tracks that I had done, but also Straight Man's Dream, was
Uh huh.
mostly
Right.
just my co-producer Jeff Berner, who's just like one of the
Okay.
greatest musical partners I think I've ever come across. He's just really great.
Great.
Um, so
I just
it's
read the
becomes
lyrics to Straight Man's Dream, by the way. They're great.
that was a fun one to write too.
Yeah.
But
Woo.
it was a slow, like I started off solo, and then I did the band thing, and then I'm starting to kind of minimalize everything again. But it also is a sign of the times because it's expensive to have big bands.
Yeah.
Um, and the more you can make on your own, the less money you have to spend, and that's a reality that we're facing now.
Sure. Yeah. And when you do tour a decent amount, if not a significant amount, as far as I can tell. When you hit the
Um,
road, do you try to get a skeletal band, or do you um, just do whatever is necessary?
I've done both band touring and solo touring. Solo touring is frightening because you're on the stage by yourself and you're
I
gonna
bet.
have to
Yeah.
make it work.
Oh my
And
God.
one of the solo tours I had was opening for Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds in Europe,
Oh
which
my
was
God.
absolute terror because I'm playing these arenas and like nobody wants to listen to me, and I'm there by myself, and it was a huge educational experience for me. It made me a way stronger musician having gone through it, but it was terrifying. It was so scary.
What did you play when you did that?
The harmonium.
Oh, you did? Oh,
It was just me on harmonium because that's what he requested. So I was like, all right, I'll just do that, and
yeah.
then we'll see how it works out. And it was frightening, but sometimes it works. Sometimes I think I could have done a better job. But hey, when you're going through it, you have no idea what's going to happen. You're
No,
just in it at the moment you're in it.
I have no
Yeah.
experience doing that. But I would say when I have to do things that are scary, sometimes I put something in my head to give me a little bit of confidence, which is kind of a way out. And you just gave me the thought you could have just said, like, if shit just went south in the middle of your set or whatever, you could have said, "Hey, Nick asked me to do this."
Oh my god!
You know, always
I
have
should
that in
have
your
done.
back pocket.
Yeah, I
And if
should have
it's the
just.
truth, it's even easier to say. You can say it with
Yeah,
such
yeah.
confidence.
Oh, it's wow, man. Think about that. I mean, it's in hindsight. Yeah, sure. I could have saved myself a lot of tears backstage. Oh, wow. But that's actually playing solo, playing completely solo is one of the hardest things I think it's still challenging to this day. It's not something that it's not like riding a bike.
Yeah,
It's like you have to keep doing it in order to be good at it.
yeah,
You can't really just stop doing it because I've done it. I've stopped doing it at time periods, and I'll I'll come out and try it again, and I'm like tanking.
yeah.
It's so easy to mess that up. It's so easy to tank it and fail, and then you kind of have to get back up and do it again. But
Right.
that's the one thing I think musically that I still see as like a um, huge challenge to do.
Right.
Playing with a band is a little easier because you have little safety nets to fall back on. You don't have to
Sure.
think as hard when you have a drummer.
Yeah.
That's a very simple, thing when if you don't have to keep time and someone else is doing it, that makes life a lot easier.
Right.
But yeah, playing solo is really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. My only experience of it is, I'm not lying, is nightmares. That's my closest that I've ever gotten. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna play guitar in front of people
Oh
by
my
myself.
god.
Just nightmares.
Oh, just
Oh no.
nightmares. I've had tour nightmares before. Have you had
You
tour
have?
nightmares before? I always have
Probably.
this.
Yeah.
I've had this one where I get into a cab and I'm trying to get to the venue, and it's like the cab is riding around in an MC Escher style, like
Mm-hmm.
through the buildings and stuff. And I'm like, when are we going to get to the venue? And it keeps taking me to this barbecue joint that I don't want to be at because I
Oh
need to play
wow.
the show. And that's something that's a reoccurring dream I have,
That's interesting.
especially when I'm on tour. That
Yeah.
I like miss the show, we're not going to get there on time, or
Yeah.
some crazy,
I
freak
guess
out
mine.
moments.
Yeah. I guess mine is the reoccurring one is just trying to get to the show on time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
just, and everything's like wading through mud and whatever's happening is preventing you from getting there. Stress.
Yeah, get to the show on time.
Um well, you told me you might have a tour story or two.
Man, okay. Do you want to hear about body mutilation, or do you want to hear about the time I finally quit doing coke?
Oh gosh. Man, I think what do you let's see. The
Either
time you
or
quit doing coke.
okay, okay.
Yeah, let's do that one.
So I was in my late 20s, and we were going on a tour for like a week in the Midwest and the Rust Belt and stuff. And the first stop was Buffalo, and it was like early springs. It was freezing cold, and it was freezing rain in Buffalo. And we played this great show, went to an after party, and they made this drink where they mixed like Vicks and like rum and vodka. Like it was like a really even more messed up Long Island iced tea.
Mentholated.
Yeah, and they called it a bleeding shlomi.
Wow.
I was like, whatever it is, I'm knocking it back. We taught the dog at the party how to sing "Who Let the Dogs Out." It was like quite the accomplishment. It was pretty wild and fun. And somebody had the idea at this party to go see Rick James's headstone at the cemetery because he's buried in Buffalo. And we were all like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. We do a couple of bumps, and then we get outside in this freezing rain, and we're running through this cemetery. And I'm not an athletic person. I never have been. But all of a sudden, I'm climbing a gate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where those superpowers came from.
I do.
But it was like mud up to our, waist or whatever, just diving into this grass and trying to find it, and we couldn't find it. And we had Google MapQuest back in those days. Mm-hmm. And so someone looked it up on Google MapQuest, and we found the headstone. And it was like a miracle, and it was very like, I mean, that was Rick James's headstone. It had this etching of him with his tongue sticking out, and you're just like, that is Rick. Yeah, it totally was. And somebody just busts out these fat lines on the headstone, and we're just snorting it, thinking we're so hot, so amazing, so young. And the next day, my voice is completely out. This is the first night of this tour, and I have no voice.
Oh my God.
And we are fucked, because that is the money maker. That's why, that's why people are buying tickets or whatever. Yeah. They don't want to hear an instrumental band. They want to hear me sing, and I got nothing. And that was the moment where I was like, I'm never touching it again. And I just remember like having like, oh, never again, never again. I don't know how I even like, I sounded like Peter Brady from the Brady Bunch. It's like, I went through it. Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't know about steroid shots back then either.
Oh, that.
I just had to go through it, and I was embarrassed. I was really disappointed in myself. I mean, that was a great night. I have to say that was a great night. I loved it for that. But it also was like, you can't be doing this. You have to take yourself seriously.
Yeah.
You got to pace yourself on tour.
I mean, it sounds like, as you said, you had a great night.
Yeah.
And you got to learn a lesson.
Yes.
Some people saw a show with Peter Brady singing.
Yeah. And they were like, why is she such a big deal? Why are we here? How embarrassing.
That was good.
Yeah, it was a good lesson that the universe taught me.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Is there a recording of it out there somewhere?
I bet.
I'm going to play it for you right now.
No.
I would never do that.
Oh, man.
Well, do you have any shows or touring for the rest of the year or over the winter?
Well, I'm playing I've been playing a lot of solo shows actually lately. Just because I'm writing new material right now, and I have to break it in. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And that's one of the ways I do it, is I just got to play it myself before I bring it to anybody.
Yeah.
And so I know what the song is and what I want to hear out of it and what the pacing is and stuff. And so I'm playing my last solo show of this year at Bar Bez with Esther Ballant, who is an incredible violinist and singer. And she was also in Stranger Than Paradise, the Jim Jarmusch movie.
Oh.
She's the actress in it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. She's a lovely person, wonderful lady. So she and I are doing a show at Bar Bez on the 29th of November.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also playing keys for my friend's record release, which is a lot of fun. I like playing on the side. I don't like always being in the center. Yeah. So, and that's Kyle Avalon, and he's having a record release show at this venue called Sleepwalk in New York on November 19th. So that's going on for November. And then next year, I have a new lineup for my band, and I'm going to start playing band shows again in January.
Are me and Ryan Kattner in this new lineup?
Do you want to be? Hit you guys up. I should hit you guys up.
Right?
Yeah,
You're
that would be
out here
fun
in
to
New York
play.
right now.
He is.
I
He
know.
is. We have spoken to each other. Yeah. Oh my God. That would be so much fun to jam sometime. Now you put it in my head, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
let's do
why
it.
not? We
I
should
would
do
love to do
this.
it.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, if you're in town, you should come out. It's January 20th at TVI.
Okay.
And it's the first full band show I'm playing in over a year. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it was great to finally meet you after
Yeah.
all Ryan's constantly talking about you on about 3 of the tours I've been on together.
Same the other way around.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Very cool.
Cool. And good luck with the new record. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, thanks. I can't wait. I can't wait till I'm done writing it. I can't wait till it's out there either.
All right.
But yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, take care of yourself. If you travel safe. You're not coming to the West Coast, are you?
I want to, so maybe next year I will,
Okay.
because I do go to the West Coast often. And then I have a lot of fun playing out there. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe next year we will go out, because I missed a bunch of things this past year.
Okay.
So we might reschedule things for next year for sure. But yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. Well, again, it was great to finally meet you, and
yeah.
I hope to see you out there somewhere someday.
Yeah, same. I'd like to see play with Man and Mr. Heavenly. So yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. Take care.
Yeah, you too, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Tell you a story about a hot summer night at a bar on the Lower East Side, where the air was so thick you could cut it with a knife. The crowds were so thick it would make you want to cut them with a knife. The rats and the roaches crawling out in droves straight out of the sewage pipes, and sanitation may have even been on strike. It was a night when someone called the EMT, the police, and the fire department. EMT, police, the fire department. EMT, police, the fire department. EMT, police, the fire department.